My parents were brutally murdered and dismembered in our home, and my company was on the brink of collapse. I begged my fiancée for help, but instead, she turned around and married Leo Thompson in a lavish ceremony. In my despair, my fiancée's sister, a police officer, proposed to me right there at the funeral. She promised to be my rock, to find the truth behind the murders for me. I accepted immediately, but in the end, the case was quietly closed. Overwhelmed by grief, Candy personally handled all of my parents' final arrangements. She brought me to live with the Hayes family. But 5 years into our marriage, I accidentally overheard her talking with a colleague. Candy, back then Leo Thompson, was the only suspect in the Miller case. Why did you drop the investigation? How can you justify that, given your position? You let Sonny live under the same roof as the murderer every single day. Did you ever stop to think, what would happen if he found out? Leo is innocent. He just happened to be at the Miller house by chance. The murder of the Millers had nothing to do with him. I believe him. I may have failed this uniform, but I have been true to my heart. Even though he did not choose me, as long as he is happy, I will do anything. The gift in my hand suddenly felt scorching hot. So, the man who killed my parents had been right here all along, and the wife I loved with all my heart had been covering for him for 5 years. This marriage was a sham. Just on the other side of the door, Candy was looking at a group photo on the wall, her voice filled with the sorrow of a love she could never have. Since Leo did not choose me, the only thing I can do is clear every obstacle from his path, so he has nothing to worry about. As for Sonny, I will watch him carefully. I will not let him find out the truth. Her colleague looked disappointed, finding it hard to watch. You have been on the force for 8 years, with more commendations than I can count. Why would you make a mistake this huge for Leo Thompson? He does not even love you, and his appearance at the Miller house back then was no accident. If anyone ever finds this out, you will not just lose your job. Your entire reputation will be ruined, and you could even go to jail. Are you out of your mind? Kenny just laughed softly, completely unfazed. Crazy? Maybe I am. Love never makes any sense. This case is closed, so do not bring it up again. Then what about Sonny? You brought him here, making him face his parents' killer every day. Did you ever think about him? He loves you so much, and you. Before he could finish, Candy's expression turned cold. That is enough. I told you, Leo is not the murderer. If someone has to pay for this, then I will be the one to pay with my life. I just do not understand you. Why are you doing this? The motive, the evidence, it is all there, yet you insist. Fine. If you think this is okay, then keep doing it. The sound of footsteps grew closer. I scrambled back into my room. The images of my parents' horrific death from 5 years ago were still burned into my memory. My company had nearly gone under because of the tragedy. It was Candy's arrival that offered me one last lifeline. She paid off all my debts and welcomed me into the Hayes family home. I thought I had found true love, and I was lost in a sea of happiness. I never imagined that it was all an elaborate lie, a trap she had set for me. She brought me here only to keep me under her watch. It made it easier for her to monitor me, and easier for her to protect Leo. Our entire marriage has been nothing but compensation, born from her guilt. And I, like a fool, took her pitiful handouts and paraded my supposed happiness everywhere. How ironic. I heard the front door close. Her colleague was gone. Candy stumbled into the room, cupped my face in her hands, and planted a kiss on my forehead. Her eyes, hazy with alcohol, were filled with a look of deep concern. Why were you just standing by the door? It is nothing. I was going to bring you some soup to help with the hangover, but I spilled it. You should let the housekeeper handle things like that. You have been so tired lately. Please get some rest, or I will start to worry. After she spoke, she kissed my lips again. Her touch was as tender and loving as it had always been. But this time, I felt no warmth from it at all. I cannot believe someone could go to such lengths for another person. The moment I closed my eyes, a tear slid down my cheek. I helped her into bed and pulled the covers over her. Thanks to the alcohol, she quickly fell asleep. I sat on the edge of the bed and quietly picked up her phone. The password was Leo's birthday. After I entered it, the phone unlocked a second, hidden interface. The home screen was empty, except for a photo gallery that was completely full. She had taken pictures of the entire case file for the Miller murders from 5 years ago. There were 1,000 photos in total. Every single page mentioned Leo Thompson's name. It detailed everything from his motive to the evidence against him. There was even security footage of him appearing at the gate of the Miller family Chicago estate. It was all there. But when I got to the last page, I saw she had officially classified it as a cold case. Candy must have been afraid her colleagues would get suspicious, so she brought the physical file home. She kept these digital records on her phone, accessible only to her. Her favoritism and desire to protect him were on full display. A bitter pain stabbed at my heart. She had always been known as a principal detective, someone with a strong sense of justice. Those were the qualities that made me fall hopelessly in love with her. I never dreamed she would abandon all of her principles for Leo Thompson. Beyond the case file, there was another private, locked photo album. I opened it. It was filled with pictures of Leo smiling. 10,000 photos, documenting his life over the past 5 years of his marriage. As the other son-in-law of the Hayes family, every public event he attended was meticulously saved by Candy. And in every single family photo, she had cropped my face out. The implication was obvious. I gave a self-deprecating laugh and stopped scrolling. I took pictures of all the records with my own phone. I bought a plane ticket for a flight leaving the country in 3 days. Then I filed the paperwork to have all of my personal identification voided. I did not sleep at all that night. At dawn, I went to the bathroom to wash up. My phone rang. It was Candy, and her voice was laced with confusion. "Sonny, why did you file to have your ID voided?" I quickly moved the phone away from her and explained calmly, "It is nothing. My driver's license expired, so I made an appointment to get a new one. Do you not have training today? You should get going." She did not seem to suspect anything. She just pulled me into a tender embrace, whispering softly in my ear, "Honey, are you planning a surprise for me?" I froze for a second. She reached out and affectionately tapped the tip of my nose. "I saw the new necklace you bought. Did you really think you could hide it from me? You're like an open book to me. I know you cannot keep secrets. Do you think I do not know you by now? The anniversary of your parents' death is coming up. We should visit their graves together and tell them the good news about our marriage. Okay? We should have a family dinner, too." Chloe has not been home in a long time. I just smiled and said nothing. She hugged me excitedly, spinning me around in a circle. She was always trying to ease the tension between me and Chloe. Over the past 5 years, she had constantly tried to arrange family gatherings. I used to think it was a sign of her love for me. Now I see it was all just a part of her scheme. She just wanted an excuse for a family gathering so she could see Leo again. It was time for this 5-year charade to end. As soon as she was out the door, I left the house as well. I went to a lawyer's office to print out divorce papers. I finished the process of voiding all my identification. With the case file in Candy's possession, I had no chance of winning if I went to the police now. Leaving was my only option. When I arrived at Candy's precinct with the papers, I overheard some of her colleagues talking. "Is that Captain Hayes' husband? He looks kind of familiar." "Oh, right. From that horrible Miller family case 5 years ago. Do you want Captain Hayes to put you on latrine duty? Watch your mouth. The captain said he was not the killer, so drop it. Be careful she does not hear you and lose her temper. She has fought with the chief over this case more than a few times. That whole outfit must be worth a fortune. I heard he just got back from a trip abroad. A guy with that much money probably would not need to kill anyone. Besides, look at the way Captain Hayes looks at him. She absolutely adores him. If he were the killer, she would have arrested him on the spot." My fingernails dug deep into my palms. I stood outside her office door, listening to a familiar voice from within. "So, has she been treating you well these past few years? You know your own sister, do you not?" When she heard I was coming back to the States, she insisted on buying me a private jet. I could not talk her out of it. Honestly, married 5 years and still acting like a child. Candy's voice was low and strained, full of a bitter sadness. "That is good. That way I can rest easy. Candy, I still need to thank you for what you did back then. If it were not for you, I might be in prison right now. I probably should not come to the family dinner tomorrow. I would not want to upset Sonny. Every time he sees me, he must be reminded of Mr. and Mrs. Miller. I am afraid he will start another fight with you." Leo was always like this, taking every advantage for himself. Then he would turn around and mock me with passive-aggressive comments. I had secretly glanced at the case file back when Candy was first investigating. I knew then that he was the only suspect. At my own wedding, I publicly accused him of murdering my parents. I demanded he be taken to the police station, but everyone sided with him, calling me irrational. Only Candy stepped forward to defend me. She became the one ray of hope in my life. But now, she was the one who had pushed me into this bottomless pit. Inside the office, Candy forced a bitter smile and took a small ceramic figurine from her desk drawer. I made this myself. It is not as expensive as something from a store, but it is from the heart. I heard Chloe is pregnant, so please consider this a little welcome gift for the baby. Leo accepted it with a smile, his eyes gleaming with triumph. My hand trembled, causing the door to rattle slightly. Through the glass panel, Candy saw me standing there, and her expression immediately tensed up. Sonny, what are you doing here? Do not get the wrong idea. Leo just got back in the country and came by to see me. We were just catching up and talking about the family dinner tomorrow night. Sonny, my man, long time no see. Leo stood up, wearing a brand new designer suit. It made me feel like a bum off the street. I forced a smile and a nod, swallowing my pride. It is fine. I was just in the neighborhood and wanted to see you. Since you are busy, I will head home. Candy, thinking I was angry, ran out after me and tried to explain. Sonny, please do not overthink this. Chloe is pregnant, and I was just asking him for advice so we could start trying. You have always wanted a child of your own, have you not? I am ready now. Seeing her look so flustered on my account, I almost wanted to laugh. She had broken her own code to protect Leo. She had even sacrificed her own marriage. If she got what she wanted, who was this performance for? Do not worry. What happened in the past is over. You said yourself it was all a misunderstanding. I'm not that unreasonable. You two continue your chat. I will go home and wait for you. She breathed a sigh of relief and walked me to my car herself. On my way out, her colleagues at the precinct gave me looks full of pity. I ignored them, got in my car, and began making final revisions to the divorce papers on my phone. When I got home, I gathered everything Candy had given me over the past 5 years and burned it all in the fireplace. Just as the last ember died out, I heard a delivery driver at the door. The purchaser was Candy, but the recipient's name on the label was Leo Thompson. I signed for it. Then I opened the box. Inside, it was filled with high-end baby supplies. A moment later, a message from Candy arrived. Sonny, I ordered a package with some office supplies, but I accidentally put our home address. Please do not open it. I will move it to the station when I get back. I replied with a simple emoji. I sealed the box back up. I had already made my decision to leave. I was too tired to bother calling out her clumsy lies anymore. That night, Candy used the case as an excuse not to come home. Meanwhile, Leo posted on his Instagram story for the first time in ages. He tagged his location at a luxury hotel in downtown Chicago. In the photo, the captain's bars on the woman's shoulder were clearly visible. She had taken off her wedding ring, revealing the pale, untanned skin underneath. In the reflection of a wine glass, you could see the woman smiling beautifully and the man looking at her with pure adoration. I gave him what he wanted and liked the post. Then I finished packing my bags. I did not hear from Candy until the following afternoon. She told me to hurry over to the Main Hayes family estate. The moment I walked in, Candy's parents saw I had arrived empty-handed, and their expressions immediately soured. Candy works herself to the bone at the precinct every day, and you, her husband, cannot even be bothered to bring a small gift for her parents? Who do you think you are, walking in here with that sour look on your face? One of the Hayes relatives chimed in, looking at me with disdain. You have been married for 5 years. Do you still think you are the prince of the Miller family? Wake up. The Millers went bankrupt 5 years ago. If Candy had not used her life savings to pay off your debts, you would be selling yourself on a street corner somewhere right now. We are your father and mother-in-law. Since your own parents are gone, we're the only parents you have left. Were you raised with no manners at all? Anyone watching would think our Candy was the one who begged to marry you. Just then, Leo appeared in the doorway, his arms loaded with expensive gifts. Candy's parents immediately lit up, rushing over to greet him. Leo, you made it. You must be exhausted from the flight. We will have your brother-in-law cook dinner in a little while. You're not here often, so please go upstairs and get some rest. Why do you always bring so many gifts? Your mother and I are old, We have no use for these things. You and Chloe should save your money for yourselves. See, Leo is so thoughtful. Not like some people who walk in the door looking like they are here to collect a debt. His parents have been dead for 5 years, and he is still whining about it. It is such bad luck to even hear it. Despite her words, Mrs. Hayes did not stop accepting the gifts. Leo looked smug as he affectionately linked his arm with hers. Mom, please do not say that. The Miller case has gone unsolved for 5 years, so it is only natural for Sonny to be upset. He is already going through enough. We should not rub salt in the wound. We're all family here, after all. Oh, by the way, Mom, Chloe is pregnant, and I hear Candy is getting ready to try, too. It is a day of double blessings for our family. You really should not make Sonny cook. You know Candy will be upset with you when she gets home. At the mention of Candy's name, my mother-in-law's smile faltered for a moment. A daughter married is a daughter lost. That is what they say about my Candy. I spend all my time worrying about how hard she works on her cases, and in the end, my concern is treated like a crime. In the past, I would have thought Candy avoided coming to this house to protect me from them. But now that I knew the truth, I felt nothing at all. She did not want to come home because she did not want to interact with Leo as just his sister-in-law. She did not want me to bring up the murders in front of everyone and make Leo uncomfortable. The crowd of relatives all chimed in, praising how well Leo had maintained his looks. You could not see any sign of aging, despite his globe-trotting lifestyle. I was left forgotten by the doorway. A cold draft swept through the hall. Just then, a fashionably late Candy arrived and wrapped me in her arms. She touched the tip of my nose affectionately. Why are you just standing here? Did Mom and Dad give you a hard time again? Seeing her daughter, my mother-in-law's tone softened. How would I dare scold the great Sonny Miller? Your husband is far too precious for that. You should hurry and take him upstairs to rest. Leo then made a show of consoling her. Mom, I've already arranged for dinner to be catered from the hotel. It will be here shortly. You should get some rest and not trouble yourself with these matters. The Hayes relatives were all busy praising how thoughtful Leo was, and no one paid me any mind. Candy guided me into a bedroom to rest. She turned back to her mother and explained that I was not feeling well and had not meant to be disrespectful. The Hayes relatives already despised me, so they were happy to drop the subject. They all gathered around the gifts Leo had brought, remarking on what good fortune my mother-in-law had to have such a devoted son-in-law. Their cheerful laughter drifted in through the crack under the door. The sound was so heavy it felt like I could barely breathe. Just as I was about to step out for some air, Leo suddenly appeared in front of me. Seeing how pale I was, his smile grew even wider and more triumphant. Well, hello, old friend. Long time no see. What is the matter? Has it been so long you do not recognize me? You know, I really should thank you. If you had not brought me to your home that day, I never would have found my real enemy. I clenched my fists, staring at him with cold fury. Enemy? What are you talking about? What could my parents have possibly done to you? What did they do to deserve being butchered like that? With no one else around, he dropped the act, his eyes turning vicious. What did they do? You should be asking what they did to me. If it were not for them, my father's company would never have gone bankrupt, and he would not have been driven to jump from his office window. You destroyed my life, and now I am just returning the favor. You cannot handle it. What is wrong? Does it hurt to see your parents' killer standing right in front of you, completely unpunished? And you know, I really have your ex-fiancé and your wife to thank. If it were not for them, I would not be enjoying this wonderful life. You know, right before your father died, he was still thinking about his precious son. I even made a special video of him begging for his life. Do you want to see it? Get on your knees and beg me. The image of my parents' brutalized bodies flashed in my mind. My eyes burned with rage. I swung my fist and smashed it squarely in his face. He let out a muffled grunt. Instead of getting angry, Leo just laughed. He went down dramatically from the force of the blow, falling straight to the floor. Before I could even react, Candy rushed in and kicked me square in the chest. The force of the blow, honed by years of police training, sent me sprawling to the ground. She, however, cradled Leo in her arms, glaring at me with pure fury. Sonny, what are you doing? Have you lost your mind? Leo was just being kind and coming to get you for dinner. Why would you attack him? The Hayes relatives heard the commotion and rushed in, their glares like daggers. Leo clung weakly to her shoulder, sobbing with a hurt expression. Candy, I am so sorry. I was just trying to apologize to Sonny for that misunderstanding 5 years ago. I had no idea he would just attack me. It is okay. What happened with Chloe 5 years ago was her fault. Just consider this my penance for that. Please do not be angry with Sonny. A sharp pain shot through my side from a broken rib, and I broke out in a cold sweat. A misunderstanding? How dare you call it a misunderstanding? Candy, what really happened 5 years ago? Do you not think you owe me an explanation? A flicker of panic crossed Candy's eyes, but she held her ground. I'm still actively investigating that case. I have told you it had nothing to do with Leo, so why do you insist on blaming him? Can you not trust me? You have no right to attack Leo when you do not know the facts. Sonny, apologize to him right now. My mother-in-law's face was a mask of cold fury as she rushed forward and slapped me hard across the face. You lunatic, still trying to frame poor Leo. Everyone knows how capable my daughter is as a detective. She said Leo had nothing to do with it. So what right do you have to lay a hand on him? You're just an orphan. Do you really think you are so important? If my daughter had not saved you, you would be selling your body out of some cheap motel to pay your debts. They say all businessmen are crooks. I say your parents got what they deserved for being so greedy. Candy, ignore him. Take Leo to the hospital. Without another glance at me, Candy helped Leo up and left the house. 5 years of my life with her evaporated in that single moment. Blood trickled from the corner of my mouth as Candy's parents threw me out of their house into the night. A stranger found me and took me to the emergency room. The doctor said my broken rib was less than half an inch from my heart. Late that night, I got a message from Candy. Her words were dripping with false humility. Sonny, please do not be upset about what happened tonight. I know you did not mean it. Leo is my brother-in-law, and it is hard for me to explain this to Chloe since you hurt him. Once he is stable, I will come and apologize to you in person. Okay? We can go to that restaurant you love. Please do not be angry. My parents were just upset and said things they did not mean. So, she remembered she had a husband after all. I pulled my lips into a sarcastic smile. Okay, I typed back. I will wait for you. Thank you for understanding, honey. That night, Leo posted an update on his Instagram story, geotagged at the hospital. The picture showed a woman asleep in a chair by his hospital bed, a worried expression on her face even in sleep. The first thing the next morning, I checked myself out of the hospital. I took my luggage and went straight to O'Hare. On the way, Kenny sent me the location of the restaurant. Honey, I have a surprise for you. I will be home to pick you up soon. Wait for me. I opened Leo's Facebook page and saw the post he had made just 2 minutes earlier. It was a video of Candy carefully feeding him some soup. The look in her eyes was one of tenderness I had never seen before. I silently liked the post, then deleted and blocked both of them. As I boarded the plane, I sent the photos from Candy's phone to the chief of police in an anonymous email. I also mailed her the signed divorce papers. At the restaurant, Candy was busy directing her colleagues as they helped her set up. Rose petals were scattered all over the floor. She stared at her phone, at the messages that remained unanswered. A feeling of unease began to creep in. She was just about to call me. Just then, one of her uniformed colleagues rushed in, his face pale. Captain Hayes, this is bad. You need to get back to the precinct right away. Someone sent a tip about the Miller case, and the chief is looking for you. And something has happened to Mr. Miller. Her words made the color drain from Candy's face. She stared at her colleague, struggling to find her voice. When she finally spoke, her first question was not about the case, but about me. She grabbed her colleague's shoulders, her voice trembling with urgency as she shook him. What happened to Sonny? Is he okay? He let out a long sigh and hesitated before speaking. Mr. Miller sent an anonymous tip to the chief. Now the State Department knows about it, and the chief is looking for you. I thought maybe Mr. Miller could help smooth things over, but he is not answering his phone. We tracked him on security cameras. He checked himself out of the hospital this morning and went to the airport. But his flight, it just went down. The words plane crash echoed in her ears. Candy felt the blood freeze in her veins. How could this happen? How? What was Sonny doing at the hospital? He promised he would wait for me at home. Oh God! That night, I lost my temper and I kicked him. With my training, I must have hit him hard. He was hurt. Why am I only realizing this now? Why did he not tell me anything? Her colleague was shocked that she would have laid a hand on me, and his expression hardened. You hit him? Was it over Leo Thompson again? Candy, what were you thinking? Sonny knows the truth about his parents' case. He knows you took the file to cover for Leo. By hurting him now, you have completely destroyed any chance you had with him. No wonder he looked so unwell on the hospital security footage. Did you even know that his condition was critical 3 times? What kind of a wife are you? Now his plane has crashed, and he is most likely dead. Is this what you wanted? Leo Thompson is a vicious murderer. Why would you throw away your career and your marriage for a piece of trash like him? Her colleague's words rained down on her like blows. They felt like an invisible weight, crushing the air from her lungs. She had only meant to put on a show for her parents that night. She did not want them to keep tormenting Sonny. She never imagined that one careless action would put his life in danger. A wave of guilt and regret washed over her, threatening to destroy her completely. Candy clutched her head, her face a mask of agony. She slid down the wall until she was sitting on the floor. No, Leo is not the killer. I just have not found a real murderer yet. I promised Sonny I would give him justice. I did not break my promise. I am still investigating. How could he have found the case file? I had it locked away. There is no way he could have known. Her colleague, knowing the truth, could only sigh in resignation. You cannot hide the truth forever. Candy, we came up through the academy together. I know how good a detective you are. The motive and the evidence are all there. Why are you lying to yourself? You say you have been investigating for 5 years. Besides Leo, who else could possibly be a suspect? Was it worth destroying your relationship with Sonny for a man like that? It is too late for that now. The most important thing for you to do is go back to the precinct, produce that file you have been hiding, and make Leo Thompson face justice. Otherwise, nothing can save you. Her colleague spoke with sincere urgency, but Candy could not hear him. She just kept muttering the same words over and over. Something happened to Sonny. I killed him. It was me. Leo is not the murderer. I am. 2 tears streamed down her cheeks. Candy shakily got to her feet. No, I cannot go back to the station. Something has happened to Sonny. I have to find him. Are you insane? The entire department is looking for you. If you do not go back now, they will say you are fleeing to escape justice. Taking that file was already a major violation. You cannot make this worse. Sonny's flight has already crashed. What do you think you can accomplish by going there now? He is dead. He is not coming back. But you still have a chance to fix the mistakes you have made. If Sonny is watching from heaven, maybe he will forgive you if he sees you put Leo in prison yourself. Candy knew that her only chance at redemption was to make Leo confess to his crimes. But the news of Sonny's death weighed on her heart like a stone. She refused to believe he was gone just like that. She had not yet fulfilled her promise to him. She could not accept it. She would not allow it. After a moment's hesitation, she turned and walked out the door. Just keep this quiet for me, she said over her shoulder. I will go to the chief and confess everything as soon as I find Sonny. She got in her car and sped toward the crash site. She barely avoided several accidents, running red lights without a second thought. She did not understand why she was losing control of her emotions. Sonny was just a pawn she had married to keep under surveillance. Leo was the one she was supposed to protect at all costs. And yet, the moment she heard Sonny was dead, she had completely fallen apart. There was only one thought left in her mind. She had to find Sonny. It did not matter if he was alive or dead. She just wanted to find him, to confess everything to his face. The rescue teams were busy recovering the remains of the victims. Candy stood at the edge of the site and waited for 8 hours. But in the end, his status was still missing. The person in charge of the recovery effort said there were too many scattered remains. In situations like this, it was not uncommon for a body to never be found. They told her to begin making arrangements for her husband. Candy did not wait any longer. She turned and drove to the hospital to review the security footage. On the way, Leo messaged her several times, asking where she was. He said his side was starting to hurt again. Hearing the custom ringtone she had set for Leo's calls, Candy felt a wave of irritation she had never experienced before. She slammed on the brakes, pulling over to the side of the road. She furiously typed a reply. If you're in pain, call a doctor. You're in a hospital. What do you expect me to do about it? Chloe is your wife. She is the one who should be by your side right now. Do not contact me unless it is an emergency. She turned off her phone and walked into the hospital without a backward glance. His room was only 2 floors above, but she never once went to check on him. When she found the right footage, she stared, transfixed, at the image of Sonny's pale, weak face on the screen. She slapped herself across the face in frustration. He had clearly been unwell for the past few days, but she, his wife, had not only failed to notice, she had delivered the final, fatal blow. When Sonny was brought to the hospital, all alone, how much pain must he have been in? She could not bring herself to imagine it. She made a copy of the security footage and drove home. She was in a daze the entire way, ignoring repeated calls from her parents. The moment she opened the door, she froze. The wall where their wedding portrait used to hang was now bare. Everything that belonged to Sonny was gone. The home that was once filled with their laughter was now as cold and empty as a tomb. She searched every corner of the house like a madwoman, but there was no trace of him anywhere. Her strength gave out, and she collapsed onto the floor. Her hands shook as she lit a cigarette. She smoked one after another, until the floor was littered with cigarette butts. She reached up to touch her face and realized her cheeks were wet with tears. The phone rang again. She answered, and her mother's annoyed voice came through the speaker. "Candy, are you all right? I saw the news online. That lunatic Sonny actually dared to report you to your own department. Where is he? You tell him to come back here so I can teach him a lesson. Leo almost died because of him, and he is still in the hospital, and Sonny has the nerve to cause trouble now? Do not stop me this time. I have had enough of him. Does he really think he is still the prince of the Miller family?" Her mother had said similar things countless times before. She always used the fact that Sonny was an orphan to try and intimidate him. Candy had always resisted her and fought with her over it. Eventually, she had even moved them out of the family home to spare Sonny the embarrassment. Hearing her mother's familiar, hateful words again, Candy's anger boiled over, and she screamed into the phone. "Enough! So what if the Miller family went bankrupt? Sonny is my husband. Mom, have you not tormented him enough over the years? Every time we come home, you have to twist a knife in his wounds. When are you going to stop targeting him? You want to find him? Fine. I will tell you where he is. He is dead. Dead. If you want to talk to him, you can write him a letter and burn it." And another thing, Leo Thompson was the prime suspect in the Miller murders. The only suspect. For 5 years, I have been the one suppressing that information so he could live his peaceful life. Do you think he is innocent? I am telling you, he is the guiltiest person in this entire family. Sonny reported me, and I do not blame him. I owe him this. I covered for his parents' murderer for 5 years. If I go to prison for this, it is what I deserve. I accept it, and I do not need your help. She hung up before her mother could reply. She walked to the freezer, pulled out a bottle of vodka, and drank it straight from the bottle. Candy collapsed onto the floor. As the alcohol hit her, memories from the past 5 years flooded her mind. The first time she saw Sonny, he was at the precinct, reporting his parents' murder, sobbing uncontrollably. She knew he was her sister's fiancé. She also knew that Leo was the only suspect, and that Leo was the man her sister loved, and he was the man she secretly loved. She chose to get close to Sonny, proposing to him in front of everyone at his parents' funeral. At the time, Sonny had just found out that his own fiancée, her sister, was marrying Leo. His thin frame had looked so helpless standing there in the cold wind. For a moment, she had felt a pang of guilt. She wondered if she was about to destroy an innocent man. But when Leo showed up at her door, drenched from the rain, that fleeting moment of compassion vanished. She chose deception. She chose to help a monster. She chose to betray her own principles. She secretly removed the Miller family case file from the records. She and Sonny had a simple wedding. They spent 5 years together. She told herself she was only keeping Sonny close to watch him, that her feigned love and affection were just a front to protect Leo. She never realized that their time together, day in and day out, had become a part of her. After a moment of hesitation, she took out her phone and opened her iMessage history with Sonny. Besides her own half-hearted apologies, the entire conversation was filled with his thoughtful and caring messages to her. I know you are working hard on your case, but please remember to eat. I ordered you a cupcake. Have a bite if you get hungry. I will be waiting for you at home. Candy, I do not know what is wrong with me lately. I feel tired all the time. Can you take some time off to go with me to the doctor? I made those sweet and sour ribs you love. I have already reheated them 3 times. When are you coming home? Every word was a dagger to her heart, and what little composure she had left shattered. Sonny had trusted her completely. He had put his family's case in her hands, and she had chosen to betray him with lies. Her hands trembled as she typed, her drunken fingers fumbling over the keys. She finally managed to send a message of apology, but all she got in return was a read, not delivered notification. Candy let out a bitter, self-mocking laugh. She could not believe that Sonny had left without even giving her a chance to atone for her sins. In the midst of her breakdown, her phone rang. It was Leo. His voice was choked with fake tears. Candy, what did you say to your parents? They just called and screamed at me. Is Sonny angry? I am so sorry. I should not have brought up the case from 5 years ago. If he is still upset, I will go and kneel before him and beg his forgiveness as soon as I'm out of the hospital. Okay? It was the same old routine, but this time, Candy was not falling for it. Enough. You and I both know what really happened that day. Leo, you talk about atoning for your sins, but have you ever once apologized to Sonny? I just told my parents the truth. How they treat you is their business. Do not blame this on Sonny. I have carried this burden for 5 years, while you have lived a happy life. Now it is time for you to pay for what you have done. I am taking you to the precinct. I hope you will have the decency to confess, and not make this any worse. She hung up before Leo could respond. She sent the hospital's address to her colleague at the precinct. She never expected to get a call from the station in the middle of the night. Her colleague's voice was grim. Candy, there's been an incident with Leo Thompson. You need to come down to the station. She splashed her face with cold water a few times, then took a cab to the precinct. In the interrogation room, blood was trickling from the corner of Leo's mouth. His packed suitcase sat on the floor beside him. When her colleague saw her, he pulled her aside. He had already fled by the time we got there. We caught him at the airport, but he resisted arrest. The officers had no choice but to use force and, well, Kenny looked through the one-way glass at Leo's pale face. Her voice was flat, emotionless. It is good they caught him. Otherwise, it would take another year to see him in prison. Sonny has waited long enough. Seeing that she finally understood, her colleague stopped holding back and handed her Leo's phone. You should see this. I think it has something to do with why Mr. Miller left. On the screen was the Instagram story Leo had posted, the one visible only to me. It showed him and Candy having dinner, staying together in the hospital room. Even the video of her feeding him was there, perfectly clear. And underneath, there was a single like from Sonny. He had seen it all. A tear splashed onto the phone screen. She was crushed by a wave of regret, so powerful she could barely stand. Leo's reason for posting the story was obvious, and she was only now seeing him for who he truly was. Do not worry about me. I will bring the case file. Just do what needs to be done. I will go and explain everything to the chief. Candy brought in the case file and submitted her letter of resignation to the department. As she was getting ready to leave, the divorce papers I had mailed arrived. Her colleague could not stand to see her so defeated, and before he left, he handed her a file. Inside was information on my new identity, created after my old one was voided. It also contained the details of my actual travel itinerary. Without a moment's hesitation, Candy took the file and headed straight for the airport. On a street in a foreign country, she saw the man she had been thinking of day and night. I was sitting on a park bench, sketching a stray cat. She just stood there on the sidewalk, watching me for a long, long time. She thought that if she had never interfered in my life, perhaps I would have always lived this freely. She stood there until the last rays of the setting sun fell across my face. I squinted my eyes and looked up. Like a deserter fleeing the battlefield, she turned and hurried away. A week later, I received a package from the United States. Inside was a news clipping about Leo Thompson being sentenced to 30 years in prison and a copy of the divorce papers signed by Candy.